I call upon the states to follow transparency and also fix up accountability and also digitize their land records and finally go for digital transfer of the money transactions.
A mega magic bricks now impact. The Urban Development Ministry pulls up states across India over lack of progress and implementation of the regulator for RERA. The meeting triggered after Magic Bricks now highlighted that some states have diluted their key provisions. In Bangalore, major crackdown on popular Mantri Mall a day after a wall caved in, leaving 2 injured. The BBMP forms a special committee to probe the mishap. The mall has been ordered to shut indefinitely. Also in Bangalore, the civic body BBMP is going to clamp down on PG accommodation in the city. All PG accommodations will have to register with their local police stations. The BBMP says the move is to ensure women's safety. Straight up, an update on Bangalore's Mantri Mall wall collapse incident that is driving a chill through the spines of shoppers across the country. A day after the Mantri Mall's wall caved in, leaving 2 injured, the civic body in Bangalore formed a special committee to conduct a thorough probe. The committee has been entrusted with the job of finding out if the mall is safe for shoppers, until which time the mall will remain shut. Now, the question that we should be asking as Indian citizens is, shouldn't the BBMP have already known whether the mall was safe for shoppers? Did it take a wall collapse for the BBMP to ask that question and begin that investigation? Who is responsible for the safety levels in these malls? Are they not being audited on a regular basis? In fact, now there's a suo motu case has been registered against the owner of the mall for negligence. Shrija brings us details. Shrija.
A day after the rare wall of Mantri Mall, one of the biggest shopping centers in Bengaluru, collapsed at around 3:30 p.m. on Monday, the police have in fact initiated suo motu action and registered a complaint against the owner of Mantri. In fact, a case has been registered under IPC section 337. Also, what we understand is that a case has been registered for negligence on the owner of Mantri. In fact, what we also know at this point in time is that the BBMP Commissioner Manjunath have in fact impounded the occupancy certificate from the Mantri owner. In fact, this particular certificate will be handed over to Mantri only after the safety engineer as well as the structural engineer gives a green signal that Mantri can go ahead and carry on with their business. In fact, the BBMP is also planning to set up a team of experts to study this particular incident. Also, what we know at this point in time is that a team of experts from IISc Civil Engineers and BMS College of Engineering have formed a committee and they will be studying this particular mishap. In Bengaluru, Shrija for Magic Bricks Now.
ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಏನಿದೆ ಆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡಿರೋ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ವಾಲ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಕುತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸೈಡಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಬಿರುಕು ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಅದು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ಆ ಬಿದ್ದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪೋರ್ಷನ್ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಬಟ್ ಹೆವಿ ವೇಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಬಿದ್ದಿದೆ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ, ಬಟ್ ಬಿದ್ದಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಒಂದು ವಾಲ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಬಿದ್ದಿದೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಕೂಡ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಣ್ಣ ಸಣ್ಣದಾಗಿ ಬಿರುಕು ಕಾಣಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಸ್ಪಾಟ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಸಣ್ಣ ಪುಟ್ಟ ಗಾಯಗಳಾಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ಕೂಡಲೇ ನಾವು ಫರ್ದರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ ಕಮಿಟಿ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡೋ ತನಕ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ನ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಸೊ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇನ್ ಅಡಿಷನ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್ ನಾವು ಏನು ಓಸಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಅದನ್ನು ವಾಪಸ್ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ ಕಮಿಟಿ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವರೊಂದು ಅಂಡರ್ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಮಂತ್ರಿ ಮಾಲರು. ಏನೇ ನಾಳೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಏನೇ ಅನಾಹುತ ಆದರೂ ನಾವೇ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಾಗಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಇದು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟಾಗಿ ಸುರಕ್ಷಿತವಾಗಿದೆ. ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕರಿಗೆ ಏನೇ ಸಾಮಾನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಬರೋದಕ್ಕಾಗಲಿ ಮಾಲ್ಗೆ ಬರೋದಕ್ಕಾಗಲಿ ಇದು ಸುರಕ್ಷಿತವಾಗಿದೆ, ಏನೂ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಅವರು ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ ಕಮಿಟಿಯಿಂದ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಓಸಿನ ಮತ್ತೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಮೀ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ತೊಂದರೆಯಿಂದ ಬಿದ್ದಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಸೀಪೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟರ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇನ್ ಒಂದು ಒಂದು AC ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು. ಆ AC ಬಾಕ್ಸಿಂದ ಸೀಪೇಜ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ, ವಾಟರ್ ಸೀಪೇಜ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ವೀಕ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಅದರಿಂದ ಬಿದ್ದಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ 2 ರೀಸನ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಕಾಣಿಸುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಬಟ್ ಟೋಟಲಿ ಓವರಾಲ್ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಕೂಡ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆನೇ ಇದೆ.
See, there may be multiple reasons for any of these collapses in buildings which happen. One is it may be structurally deficient, in which case the structural engineer would be responsible. or it may be loaded with some equipment which it was not designed for, maybe an air conditioning chiller or some heavy equipment which could have caused that problem, in which case the air conditioning engineer and the structural engineer should have consulted each other. Or it could be a problem where some unknown leakage or unforeseen incident, some accident where some water is accumulated. Water is very dangerous if it is not disposed of correctly. It could be something that has accumulated and weakened the existing structure, or rusted if it's a steel frame or something, it would have got rusted, and because of that it would have collapsed. Structural strength of the structure, instead of also how much what it is going to be used for, and making sure it's not used for something else. You can't load a slab beyond a certain limit. You can't allow water to accumulate in any places. These kind of checks could have been put into place, but again, I'm reiterating that I don't think anybody does these things willfully, right? So it's sometimes things go wrong, and an investigation by the fire and by the civil engineering cell of the BBMP will reveal what happened in days to come.
In fact, we received official response from Mantri developers after the mishap. In their letter, they have reiterated once again that the Mantri Mall is in fact structurally safe.
The rear wall of Mantri Mall, one of the biggest shopping centers in Bengaluru, which collapsed at around 3:30 p.m. on Monday, remains shut for the second day. In fact, what we understand is that the BBMP commissioner, Manjunath, has in fact impounded the occupancy certificate from Mantri owners. Also, what we understand is that the certificate will be handed over to the Mantri owners only after the safety engineers and the structural engineers gives a green signal to the BBMP officials. What we also understand is that the BBMP has formed a team of experts to study this particular incident. In fact, a team that is civil engineers from IISc as well as BMS College of Engineering have formed a committee to study this particular mishap. Also, what we understand is that when Magic Bricks now in fact got in touch with Mantri, they issued a statement saying, I quote, in fact, that they have no distress at any location. Hence, the structure consisting of shopping areas, public areas, multiplex and food court are structurally safe. Also, what they told us is that the water on the terrace is suspected to be caused by the leakages from the AC pipes. However, as we continue our investigation further and proper remedies will be suggested. In fact, what we also know at this point in time is that the BBMP mayor told Magic Bricks now that it could be quality issues which could have led to this mishap. In Bengaluru, Shrija for Magic Bricks Now.
On to Mega Magic Bricks Now. Impact concerned over states diluting key provisions in RERA. The Union Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviation Ministry has called a meeting on Tuesday to take stock of the implementation of the real estate regulator. Chief secretaries of housing departments of all states were asked to attend the meeting that was chaired by Housing Minister Venkaiah Naidu.
The Real Estate Regulatory Act became a law on May 1, 2016 after it was passed with majority of both the houses of the parliament, with major opposition parties supporting it. However, close to 1 year from the time it was passed in the parliament, most of the states are yet to notify the final draft rules for the Real Estate Regulatory Act. In fact, out of the 29 states in the country, at least 12 states are yet to notify rules for the Real Estate Regulatory Act. If we talk about states like Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, they do not even have an interim regulator in place. Other states like Arunachal Pradesh, Bihar, Uttarakhand have not even come up with the final draft rules in their respective states. Other states yet to notify the approved draft rules include Assam, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh and Jharkhand. The Housing Ministry released the first draft rules for the Real Estate Regulatory Act in June 2016, and the final rules were notified on October 31 for 5 union territories including Chandigarh, Dadar and Nagar Haveli. However, it was the Urban Development Ministry which delayed the final rules for the national capital by 15 days for the deadline it had set for itself. In fact, with elections round the corner, States like Punjab, UP, Uttarakhand, Goa and Puducherry are expected to see delay in implementation of RERA in their respective states. But despite all claims of the centre, it does not seem it has been able to get all the states on board and on schedule. In fact, we are expecting the final rules for the Real Estate Regulatory Act to be notified in all states and union territories by April 31, 2017 are in for a disappointment. Today, the Urban Development Ministry and Housing Ministry had called for a meeting to do a ground check on all the states on the implementation of Real Estate Regulatory Act in all the respective states. However, it seems that most of the states are behind schedule.
There is a great opportunity awaiting for the real estate sector, and the Prime Minister has set a target of housing for all by 2022. This government has so far sanctioned 14,87,000 houses, and I have called upon the states to please see to it that these housing projects are grounded at the earliest and taken up with all the speed that is required. And the financial institutions also, they are willing to support us because now there is a good amount of money that has come into the system. I call upon the states to follow transparency and also fix up accountability and also digitize their land records and finally go for digital transfer of the money transactions also, because earlier there is a lot of criticism that a lot of money, unaccounted money has come into the system, which has made the real estate sector also at times they have faced problems, turbulences and all. I hope that this passing of the rules and regulations and notifying the rules of regulations and appointing regulators, once the system is through, the sector will get stabilized, and this government wants to give top priority to the housing sector. And we urge upon all the states to join as partners and follow the spirit of the Prime Minister Team India.
It has been 1 year that the government is working on the Real Estate Regulatory Act now. So today you had a meeting with all the secretaries. How has it turned out and how are you proceeding with the real estate bills?
Well, we are hoping that it will turn out all right. We started working on the Real Estate Regulation Act sometime in the summer of 2014. We had some kind of clarity by the end of that year. 2015 went in consultation with states and other stakeholders, consumers, and 2016 we passed the Act. Now the Act pertains to the whole of India. We in the Government of India are responsible for those areas where there is no state legislature and for union territories. For those areas we've already made rules, like for Delhi, like for Chandigarh, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, etc. But then there comes in the matter of states. The states have to also conform, and they have to make these rules as a part of their curricula by the summer of 2017. I think it's March sometime. Some states have already done sterling work on it. Some states are in the process of doing so. I think this meeting has been called of all stakeholders and state representatives to ensure that by the summer of 2017 the rules are in place and the consumer gets access to a redressal mechanism.
So the Home Buyers Association was also alleging that there were a few dilutions by various states, especially in UP and in Gurgaon also. You've been working closely with the entire organization. How are you going to process that?
Well, you know, in the past, when there was a real estate boom, some fly-by-night operators who were builders, they took money from consumers and they did not put it in the project for which they took the money. They spread it over other projects and they spread themselves thin. So when the boom went bust, they are skating on thin ice, so to speak. So some states who had these kind of operators are sometimes reluctant to conform to the rules that have been laid down by the Government of India. But the rules that have been laid down by the Government of India are, as I would think, in a sense, mandatory for states to follow, because they come in the concurrent list, and we've taken opinion of the Attorney General of India. And the idea is that the consumer must be protected at all costs. So this is what we're trying to ensure through this seminar today, that the state governments which do not conform to the centre's ideas on on the rules that have been framed should be brought on board. And I think the consensus of opinion which seems to be emerging is that we must protect the consumer at all costs, so that there is rebuilding of confidence amongst consumers in the development process and in the housing sector.
We must protect the consumer at all costs. That was the basic spirit of the Real Estate Regulatory Act as it was drafted and it was passed in Parliament. Since then, only 7 states have notified their rules. Remember, the deadline for rules was October last year, including Gujarat, Karnataka and Maharashtra. Several of those states also notified rules that had been diluted. The central government now, in reaction to a story we had done right here on Magic Bricks, now pulling up all of the states first for inaction, not meeting those deadlines and not drafting their rules on time, and also for rules that were being drafted contrary to the act drafted by the central government. I'm very glad to see the central government react and make it very, very clear that RERA was drafted for the benefit of home buyers and that in spirit all rules should maintain that very benefit.
The consumer bar or even the lawyers, not only lawyers, the investors in the flat, everybody reacted. And it was a RERA which actually Maharashtra which came in. It was a builder's paradise. In fact, as Shirish last time said, and I support it, that it was literally drafted by builders for the benefit of the builders, for the welfare of the builder and for exploiting of the consumers. So therefore, it was required.
Our Maharashtra government will take cue from this and mend its way, because the way Maharashtra government was trying to put these rules on the heads of consumers in blatant violation of the basic principles of law, and many a time the rules prescribed were absolutely at tangent with the main provisions of the act. It was virtually a mockery of the rule making process, and hence I think the warning that has been served by the Honorable Housing Minister today will go well, and we do hope that the state government will take immediate corrective steps to modify the rules and bring them in line with, strictly inconsistent with the main provisions of the RERA Act.
Most of the reasons for delay in this country, as far as I know, and from my experience of lifetime, infrastructure being not provided by the government authorities. Number 2, it is the multiple clearances, so many clearances, a developer gives more than 80 to 90% time only getting clearances, and only 10 to 20% time is available for constructing the building actually.
The state has diluted these rules, what is framed by the center, to a great extent. In Mumbai, the hub of construction, what we call it as, when you collect money from people, you should deliver. The profit and other things, you should have calculated it prior to selling of it. Once you make a commitment, you fulfill the commitment.
No, okay. So Mr. Padikkal, then respond to what Mr. Chaturvedi was saying, which is, let's say you do a feasibility study, you begin construction. If your approvals don't come in on time because the local authority is corrupt, then what do you do? Or if the rules change midway, and we've seen that happen. FSI rules change midway.
This is what we were
Airports
telling.
Authority rules change midway. Then what do developers do?
We were mentioning to the parliamentary committee when they came, there should be an accountability factor for all the things.
The law says it very clearly. If you don't, let's suppose you don't, approvals may not come for many reasons. Most of, as we see in practicality, they all come in, and many times they are held up because they involve some serious violations, like FSI. In Bombay, for instance, why do projects get held up? Because 90% projects involve condonation of fire safety, condonation of open space, waiver of recreation ground requirements.
For another development today, Mumbai has been tagged open defecation free by both the centre and the BMC. The centre conducted a survey throughout Mumbai in all of the areas that come under BMC jurisdiction. We're still awaiting for the official announcements to be made in the first week of February. But our sources tell us that the city has in fact been declared open defecation free. It is obvious most citizens in the city will completely disagree with that declaration. It's not possible for Mumbai to be open defecation free at all. Disha Shah brings us details on how this declaration was made.
Mumbai could soon be declared as an open defecation-free city, and what we understand from the sources close to the development is that the centre has finally given a go-ahead to the BMC to declare the city as an open defecation-free. And what we also understand is that over the past 1 month, the officials from the centre, they were here, they were conducting surveys across the city, and they had identified various open defecation spots where BMC has already constructed public toilets. And what we understand from BMC's own data is that they've already built more than 700 mobile toilets across the city. But an important thing to note here is that how the BMC has managed to get this title. If reports are to be believed, according to BMC's own data, what we understand is that more than 45% of the Mumbai's land either comes under the railway authorities or the salt pan lands or either slum areas, and these lands, they do not come under BMC's jurisdiction, which essentially means that only 55% of the city will become open defecation free. However, the BMC commissioner has already written letters to all the 3 authorities to allow them to build public toilets, but the final decision has not come from their end. But lastly, what we understand from the sources is that the BMC will get its final certification only in the first week of Feb this year. This is Isha Shah from Matchuplex Now.
Meanwhile, more relief for citizens. As we know, yesterday the RBI increased the withdrawal limits at ATMs to 10,000 rupees per day from your account. After the announcement came on Monday, people across India, of course, went over to their ATMs to withdraw money. And finally, it seems like the queues have disappeared. Our reporters fanned out across the country to bring us this ground report.
RBI on late Monday evening had announced the hike in the withdrawal limit from 4,500 rupees to 10,000 rupees per day from the ATMs. And when we did an ATM check across the city, in major areas, what we found and observed is that people are able to withdraw 10,000 rupees as per the latest RBI notification. But on the other hand, after 70 days of demonetization, what we have observed is that bank customers and citizens, they have been making fewer trips outside than ATM. Right now also you can see I have all these 3 ATM banks, that's Yes Bank and ICICI Bank and Kotak Bank, but there is not a single bank customer queuing up outside or waiting outside to withdraw money. So this essentially means that people no longer need that huge amount of money for withdrawal. What we also found out is that people, out of 50 people we spoke to, majority of them had come to withdraw only 2,000 rupees of 6,000 rupees and even 4,500 rupees for that matter, because they say that that was sufficient for them on a daily basis. But on the other hand, what they need at this point is that notes of smaller denominations like 100 and 500 rupees, as they say that is the need of the hour. This is Isha Shah from Magicbricks Now.
4,500 it's enough now for a day.
आपको नहीं लगता कि 10,000 आपको withdraw करने का daily जरूरत पड़ेगी?
नहीं, मुझे नहीं लगता कि ये ज़रूरत है, लेकिन इट्स में भी जो डिसीजन लिया है शायद कुछ सोच के लिया होगा. तो इट्स
मुझे 5,000 करना था तो 500 की नोट नहीं आ रही है, और 15,000 करने तो 15,000 नहीं मिल रहे उसमें. हर एक की सिचुएशन के ऊपर डिपेंड रहेगा. कभी हॉस्पिटल को चाहिए अगर 50,000 रुपये तो कैसे कमी है ना 10,000 फिर डेली, और कौन का लाइन पे वो खड़ा रहेगा.
10,000 is yes reasonable because 3 times if I take 30,000 in a month is sufficient.
In a welcome mood, the RBI has relaxed the withdrawal limit from 4,500 to 10,000 rupees. What we understand is that we came across quite a few ATMs. In fact, we also understand that people are able to withdraw the lower denomination notes like the 500 rupees. But however, what they still tell me is that they are unable to, in fact, the ATMs are not dispensing 100 rupee notes. However, what we understand is that this particular the news has brought cheers to customers. And in fact, remember, this decision, the withdrawal limit to 10,000 comes nearly 2 months after Prime Minister Modi, demonetized rupees 500 and 1,000 rupee notes. However, the actual problem lies here with the panic-struck bankers, because they don't have adequate cash, in fact, to supply to the ATMs. But we did come across quite a few ATMs, especially in the CBD areas here in MG Road, where they are loaded with cash and they are dispensing the 2,000 rupees and 500 rupee notes. In Bengaluru, Shrija for Magic Bricks Now.
The limit for the week is 24,000, no. So it doesn't matter. You have to stand now 3 days in ATM in place of 6 days in ATM. That much only. The limit has to increase, obviously.
It may be for one day, it's okay. But what about the second day? Suppose I am from Andhra. If I am here, I have to withdraw. Otherwise, I have to keep cash with me.
Yeah, the pressure is always there, but 10,000 is still too less, but probably at least a little bit increase from 4.5 to 10,000 is a bit relief for that. But weekly limit is still up to 24,000 is a bad thing. They need to change that.
I'm standing in central Delhi, and as you see behind me, the lines have disappeared. The queues have disappeared. In fact, a lot of customers have also told us that after the Reserve Bank of India's announcement of 10,000 rupees withdrawal from the various ATMs, they are able to withdraw 10,000 rupees from various ATMs as against 4,500, which was earlier announced. In fact, most of the ATMs are having money also, and they are being calibrated as well. In fact, people have also told us that they are able to withdraw money from the banks as well as checks. However, the withdrawal limit stays at 24,000 per week, but 10,000 rupees can be withdrawn on daily basis. This is Deepa Rana for Magic Bricks Now in New Delhi.
जो सैलरीड पीपल हैं और जो कामकाजी लोग हैं, उनके लिए सिर्फ 24,000 की लिमिट ही करी गई है. मैं ये कहूँगा कि 24,000 से उसको बढ़ाया जाए, ताकि लोगों का बार बार बैंक में आना जरूरी ना हो.
चेक से मैंने इसी बैंक से निकाले हैं, तो मेरे को तो पहले भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं आई चेक से.
मेरे से आगे वाले ने किया था ट्राई, निकले उनके अभी. हाँ 10,000 निकल रहे हैं. कोई प्रॉब्लम कोई दिक्कत नहीं. हाँ जी,
10,000 निकल रहे हैं.
हाँ निकल रहे हैं.
जिस दिन से नोटबंदी उस दिन से निकाल रहे हैं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं.
10,000 रुपये निकाल पा रहे हैं?
नहीं मैम, 10 की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी अभी तक. जरूरत कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है बैंक से.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magic Bricks Now. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.